power of sui generis. So what is sui generis anyway? The first question I get asked. Sui generis is Latin for one of a kind. You see, the more like your other people, the less you are unique, the less you are like what you are capable of becoming. So I think if we want to really get rich with a niche, we need to identify what that niche is. We need to be different from and better than the people we're competing with in the marketplace as we know it today. So let me give you a couple of ideas to consider. I'd like for you to think for a moment about what a commodity is. Commodities are products without discernible differences one from another, which are available from multiple sources. By the way, are you in a business that sells a commodity? Sometimes people raise their hands too fast on that. Because you see, if you have a true commodity, the only thing that matters to the purchaser is what? Price. So I'd like to suggest that we not be too commodity focused. Let's think about how we can be different from and better than our competition. So while people are busy commoditizing your offering in their mind, you need to be busy figuring out how you can differentiate yourself, your company, your solutions, and your offerings from what the competition's got to offer. Now, most people think when it comes to differentiation and the topic of commodities, there are really only two types of differentiation. Most people think that differentiation boils down between two simple things. One is product and one is price. I think there's a lot more to it than that. Now, anything you can do to differentiate your product. Now, maybe your product is tangible. Maybe your product is a service that's being rendered. But whatever it is, anything you can do to make it substantially different. Something that's niche focused. Something that you can easily tailor to specific needs of specific people. That's going to help you gain product differentiation. Because as you go to market and as you make decisions on how you're going to develop your value proposition, the more and better you are differentiated, the greater the likelihood they're going to take a closer look at what your solution might be. So product is one type of differentiation, and anything we can do to make it different, make it better, serves us well. Let's talk about price. Price is the other differentiator that most people think of as the top two, and they think, hey, price, if something's pretty much a commodity, that's all that matters. And people have to decide, well, I either need to come up with a different product, or if I can't do that, I've got to have a lower price. These are very unsophisticated marketers. They hadn't even gotten through page 10 of their first sales and marketing book. There's far more to it than that. I contend our U.S. learning model on differentiation shows 7 valid ways we can differentiate our offer. Now, one is product and one is price. Those two are valid, but we don't stop there. Now, if you decide you're going to be the low-cost provider and go with the lowest price, you had better be able to figure out how you can be of maximum efficiency in running your organization, because you're not going to have any extra revenues to throw around. You're not going to have a great deal of margin to play with. If you go in as the low-cost provider, that's going to be a tough environment. I'm much more inclined to say, let's figure out what we can do to differentiate to a greater degree, to bring something exciting to the marketplace, to get people to be captured by a compelling solution, and let's get them excited about other ways that we bring some newness to the market. So what are the other types of differentiation? Number 3 is what we call relationship differentiation. If you've really got a strong relationship with somebody and you've done a great job of building trust, you are ahead of the game. There are people who will do business with you just because you are who you are and you have done the things that have enabled them to feel very strongly about the positive attributes you've got and what you bring to the table. So often it is about lasting relationships and our continuing to nurture those relationships over time. My friends Tony Alessandra and Phil Wexler wrote a book a few years ago entitled Non-Manipulative Selling. I want to share with you the greatest line in the book. They say if two people want to do business together, the details are probably not going to get in the way. Because if you've got two people who want to do business with each other, that's strong. They get emotionally involved in the positiveness and the possibilities of a solid win-win relationship. But, say Alessandra and Wexler, if you got two people and one of them doesn't want to do business with the other, the details are probably not going to make it happen because the relationship is not working. That's the power of relationship in sales and marketing as we know it today. So what can we do to advance the relationships? Let's stay in close touch. Let's make sure we're referring them to things that can be solutions to other problems they might have. Let's send them a copy of an article on something we know they're interested in. Let's keep doing the things that go the extra mile. I've got a friend in my home base of Memphis, Tennessee, named Stanley Mills. He's the greatest differentiator I've ever seen when it comes to developing relationships and staying in touch. He's got a database second to none. He is a high-income realtor. And Stanley Mills sends people birthday cards, and he sends them Christmas cards. He sends them a July the 4th Independence Day card. He stays in touch with people, but he goes beyond that. He's always asking himself, what can I do that nobody else is doing? If you get in Stanley Mills' database, you can't get out. He's in touch with you until you move away from Memphis. Let me give you just one of his ideas. If you're in his database, as he gathers information, one of the things he captures is the date of your anniversary. And if your anniversary is on November 1st, he's going to call you 2 days before. And he's going to say, hey, Charlie, Stanley Mills calling. Hey, Stanley, how are you? Oh, I'm doing great. I just wanted to give you a call, Charlie, and remind you that your anniversary is day after tomorrow. And I wouldn't want you to forget it because Bonnie deserves better than that. If you got such a call, would it be the only one you've ever gotten? Stanley Mills does it. He follows through. And everybody knows that he does what he says he's going to do. He creates positive relationships. He nurtures them. By the way, one of the things that works for him is his follow-up reputation is sterling. What is your follow-up reputation? Is it always and promptly? Is it sometimes maybe? Or is it probably won't hear, certainly not on time? What is your follow-up reputation? If you want to advance relationships, have a sterling, positive follow-up reputation. Don't over-promise and under-deliver. Under-promise and over-deliver. So that's the third type of differentiation. The fourth type is what we call experiential differentiation. A great book was written entitled The Experience Economy. I highly recommend it. It talks about the fact that today people simply want to have positive experiences with the people they're doing business with. Experiential differentiation is creating unusual and positive and dynamic scenarios where people can say, wow, this person is terrific. Experiential differentiation encompasses customer service, giving them great service. You see, I have a theory. In the free world today, I think that all the boats have been rising for a couple of decades now as there's been more prosperity in the world. Now, as the boats continue to rise and everybody does a little better, lives in a little bigger home, enjoys a few more of the finer things of life, I'm convinced that as we reach those points of comfort and satisfaction in our lives, we are less willing to tolerate incompetence and poor service. We want positive experiences with everyone we choose to deal with. So give your people you're dealing with and doing business with on a day-to-day basis some positive experiences. The next type of differentiation sounds a little less exciting, but it's important. It's called process differentiation. Process differentiation is how you do what you do. A salesperson who worked for a company I was doing some training for recently was contacted by a customer. And the customer said, if you could just get those invoices to us before the 5th day of the month, not only does it work better for our internal accounting, we'll get you paid faster. Well, he worked for a big company. They don't turn on a dime, but he had to go do some internal selling. He got the customers' bills out faster. They got their money faster. Customers happy. What did he do? He had an impact on the processes by which they did business. Now, personally, he's involved, he's in the loop, he's solving the problem for the customer, but organizationally, they paint a better picture and a more positive image in the marketplace. Why? Because they're tweaking, they're fine-tuning all of their processes to be more responsive to customer need. Always push the envelope and think about what can you do to enhance processes. Next is technological differentiation. What can we do on a technological basis? Maybe it's the advanced technology of the product or service we're rendering and how it's presented. Maybe it's advanced technology in communications. And if you've got somebody who's of the generation where they're under 30 and they're into texting all the time, if you don't text with them, you've got a technological problem. They're going to find somebody to replace you. So let's be up to speed on technology. Let's be pushing the envelope, thinking about what can we do better, what can we do to respond to our customers' needs, what can we do to be more sensitive to customer needs from a technological point of view. And the last type of differentiation is called marketing differentiation. If all other things are equal in what you offer with your competitors, except you are a more skilled sales professional, your company is more adept at marketing technology and marketing concepts, you might win the game in that respect. How can we sell better than our competition? One thing we can do is let's be hungry for knowledge. Let's be looking for the latest and greatest sales ideas. Let's read the books. Let's go to the seminars. Let's hear the speakers. Let's learn. Let's get passionate about what we're learning so that we can go into the future with all of the advantages of being well informed. Let's let our competitors be less informed, and we will be in a position to be better sales and marketing professionals. Create a niche for yourself. To wrap this up, one quick story. I get calls all the time from young people wanting to be professional speakers. They ask for my advice. They ask me to go to lunch. I don't have time to go to lunch with all of them, but I always talk to them. And I talked to one last week, and I said, there's one thing I want to tell you as you're considering what kind of content you're going to cover. If you're going to be a speaker, I would like to recommend that you resist the temptation to go broad and shallow in your content. Because if you go broad and shallow, you're going to think, I can serve more people with a broader content base. But if you go shallow, you're going to be one among many. You're not going to be a specialist. I want to encourage you to find a specific niche. Go narrow and deep. It's one of the greatest ways you can be one of a kind.